Welcome to the Tax Playbooks, where I'm giving you tips and strategies to win in your taxes and your finances. I'm Trenda Hackett, your Web CPA, and I'm with the Web CPA Virtual Tax Clinic. And if I share anything on these videos that you have questions about, you can comment on this video. By all means, like this video and share this video. But if you need more assistance, you can visit us at www.virtualtaxclinic.com. And I want to get into our comments on today, but make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, and comment on this video, because what I'm going to share today, this is the thing that is going to alleviate stress and give you the peace of mind that you need as we are on a journey to get you to that student loan debt being canceled. That's right. This is part 3 of a 7-part series. I've done 2 videos before. You really need to go back and check those. But this video today, we're going to talk about public service loan forgiveness. That's right. If you have worked in public service, and if you have a student loan, there has been some new changes that will allow you to get to that mark quicker. So let's get into our content on today. First of all, I want to first start with a key date that I want you to keep in mind. It's October 31st, 2022. That is the deadline for you to act. I talked about automatic adjustments in a previous video. I'm not talking about automatic adjustments. What I'm going to talk about here will not be automatic. There's something that you will need to do, and you have to do it now on or before October 31st, 2022. But because after that, things are going to go back to normal. So what are you talking about? With public service loan forgiveness, if you have worked full-time in public service and you have had a student loan in repayment status while you were working full-time, and if that time in repayment in those number of years or months that you work full-time in public service, if it totals 120 months or 10 years, that will get you your public loan service forgiveness. Now, before we get in depth, I always like to share some key facts and terms and figures that I want you to keep in mind, some key date. So let's get into it. So number one, I want you to remember October 31st, 2022. That's the deadline for you to act. After that, the program reverts back to the normal procedures. I won't get into the normal right now because my focus is to help you to get to act before the program changes. Time and repayment must be 120 months or 10 years. Full-time public service. In public service, I'm going to talk about the qualified types of services that qualify and your qualified employers. It must be 120 months. And the key with this time in service and time in repayment, it has to be at the same time. For example, if you worked in public service prior to your loan being in repayment, that time in public service does not count. So the two have to coincide, time in repayment and the time in public service. And here again, 120 months or 10 years is your magic number. October the 2nd, 2007 to present. That's another key date. You may be asking, what is that? That is your look back period up until October 31st, 2022. That is your look back period. So prior to them making these changes, you could not get credit for time in past for public service. But there's a temporary waiver. They temporarily lift the red tape. And now you can look back and get credit for public service, working full-time in public service from October the 2nd, 2007 to present. Here again, that deadline is October 31st, 2022. And guess what? Any type of repayment plan. You don't have to be on an income-driven repayment plan up until October 31st, 2022. This is why you have to act now. And it must be, your loan type must be a direct loan, or you could have consolidated direct loan. You may find that some of you will need to consolidate your loans into a direct loan prior to October 31st, 2022 for you to qualify. And another thing, if you look on the screen, the COVID-19 forbearance counts as time in repayment. Here again, these changes for the public service loan forgiveness are up until October 31st, 2022. So now I've talked about the 120 months or the 10 years. Here again, I want to reiterate your time in repayment and your full-time public service, it must be at the same time. It must coincide. That's when you'll get that credit for that. So you may be asking, okay, how do I know if the employer I work for, does it qualify for public service? If you pay attention to the screen, I'm going to run down some things, but there's one type of employer I really want to drill into, because I know a lot of you are out there. You may be owners in nonprofits, or you're the sole owner, or not owner in a nonprofit, but you're the sole director. You're the CEO in that nonprofit, and you may think, well, how do I qualify? And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So if you pay attention to the screen, these are the types of jobs that, where you have worked full time, that you can get credit for. For number one, let's talk about the federal government. That's, if you work for the federal government, you can get time for that. That's considered public service. State government, a local government, if you work for a county or a city government, military, tribal government, if you volunteer for the AmeriCorps or Peace Corps, that qualifies. You can get credit for that time. Here again, that time frame is from October the 2nd, 2007, and you'll get credit for the time that your loan was in repayment. And then also, if you look here on the screen, the 501c3 nonprofit organizations. Now, these are qualified organization recognized as tax exempt by the IRS. And you may say, I wonder, is the organization that I work for, is it tax exempt? Because one of the pieces of information that you're going to need is their employer identification number. So for your 501c3 organizations, if you go and visit the IRS website at www.irs.gov and you type in the keyword search box tax exempt organization search, you will go to a screen. You can search it by the name of the organization. You can search it by the tax identification number if you have that. If your organization comes up, that means your organization is a qualified organization for the public service, because it does say if it's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Now, this last category on the screen, nonprofits without a 501c3, that depends on the types of services that you provide. So let's get into those. So if you look here on the next screen, nonprofits without a 501c3 status. Which one of those qualify? First of all, political organizations do not qualify. Okay, it does not qualify as a public service organization. A religious organization, it can qualify, but it is limited based on the services that you provide outside of religious services. So if the only services that you provide, that your organization provide, and it is not a 501c3 status organization, if religious service is the only services provided, that won't qualify. But you may be a 501, not a 501, a nonprofit organization without a 501c3, and you may provide religious services, educational services, and other types of services, but that type of services will make you qualify. Emergency management services. If you are a nonprofit without a 501c3 and you provide emergency management services, military services on the behalf of the National Guard. Here again, this is for those nonprofits without a 501c3. If your organization or you work for an organization that provides legal aid services that are funded by a federal, state, or local government, Head Start, licensed and regulated child care providers, Head Start and pre-K, services, if your organization is not a 501c3 and you're a nonprofit, you're providing this type of service. If you provide services for the elderly and individuals with disabilities, and also if you provide public health services, social workers, healthcare services occupations, public library, public safety, law enforcement, crime prevention, any of those type jobs. If you are a teacher, if you're a fireman, policeman, if you just work in public service, federal government, state government, local government. So those are qualified employers. But don't let don't you try to decide that for yourself. As I told you on previous videos, reach out to your loan service provider and you can ask them, or there's a tool on the www.studentaid.gov website, the PSLF tool. Locate that tool. You can put the name and the tax ID number of your employer in that you're trying to get this past credit for, and they're going to ask you for dates that you were employed. Make sure your dates are after October the 2nd, 2007. So you may be asking, you know what, you just shared a lot in a little bit of time. So what do I need to do? How can I, first of all, find out if the organization or company that I work for full time? And let me talk about full time. Full time, you may have worked for 3 organizations part time. So full time means 30 hours a week. Or if you, in a period of time, you may have been working for 2 or 3 different organizations part time. But if that time comes up to those 30 hours, you can combine your time in different public service type organizations to count as full time. So what am I saying to you? You must act. This will not be automatic. There's a form that you need to fill out. You need to have your employer to certify your full-time or your part-time work. A lot of you may be owners or CEOs and directors of nonprofits where you may find that your board has to certify your time. So that's the key. So for this form that I'm going to tell you how to go online to find, when you fill out that form, there's a part that you have to sign. There's a part that your qualified employer have to complete and sign. But you'll need to not stop there. There's instruction on that form to say you have to send this form to this service provider. There's some certifications that you have to make, but I don't want you to just complete the form and then stop there. You have to take actions now. So you may be asking, what must I do now? What must I do now? If you look on the screen, I'm going to walk you through what must you do. So, number 1, you want to contact your loan service provider on or prior to October 31st, 2022. Also, you want to visit the Student Aid website, www.studentaid.gov. You want to get that information that I showed you how to get in videos 1 and in videos 2. Because what's going to happen is, if you look at video 2, there's going to be some automatic adjustments that they're making to your student loan accounts in the fall. This is going to get you closer. If you're trying to qualify for public service loan forgiveness, this is going to get you closer to those 120 payments. And you may be closer to the 120 payments. Now all you need to do is find out if your employer, if your organization qualifies. So you go to www.studentaid.gov, and I want you to look at the top right hand corner. You will see a tab that says Manage Your Loans. And if you drop down, you'll see Public Service Loan Forgiveness. If you drill on down into that, you're looking for something called the PSLF tool. And if you go through this tool, you can see beforehand if you qualify. But if you're the type like, you know what, I don't have the time to do this. My time could be running out, because you have to do this by October 31st, 2022. Because after October 31st, 2022, everything that I say in this video will not be applicable. You can still get public service loan forgiveness, but you won't be able to get credit for past time. You won't be able to get credit for being in forbearance and all of that. You won't be able to get credit if you're on a repayment plan other than an income-driven repayment plan. So this is why you want to act now. They have temporarily lifted the red tape for you to be in a position, those of you that are in public service, that you have worked in public service anytime from October the 2nd, 2007, you want to look back to that time, but you also remember what I said, that your time in repayment, those 120 months, you got to work for your employer 120 months or 10 years, a public service employer, and your time in repayment has to be 10 years, 120 months. But that time must coincide at the same time. So you can only get credit for your public service while your loan was in repayment status. So I want you to start looking at your student loans accounts, contact your service provider, and guess what? We are offering an opportunity to help you to navigate this process. If you say, I don't want to do it, I don't have time to do it, can I get you all to do it? If that is you, you want to visit us at www.virtualtaxclinic.com. Hit the Get Started button, and there's a little sheet that you fill out, but in the comment section, you want to put, I want your student loan package. And so what my team and I will take a look at that, and we will reach out to you. So there are many ways that you can get help, but you have to do it now before October 31st, 2022, because after that date, everything that I've said in this video, it becomes moot. It is, and it's all bets are off. You will revert back to the normal ways, and you won't be in a position to get credit for the time that you worked previously for your public service employers. Now, that's all I'm going to share with you today. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and don't be stingy with the knowledge. This video, if you share this video with a friend, a family worker, you can be in a position to bless somebody, and you don't even have to do it financially. You can just do it by sharing the video, because you never know, you're helping somebody else to alleviate stress, to gain a peace of mind, and most of all, to be debt free, to get some of this student loan debt off of their backs. You go out, you have an amazing day, and I want you to come back to me, or I'm going to do part 4, where I'm going to be talking about other ways that you can have your student loan forgiven. Here again, comment on this video with your questions, like this video, subscribe to this channel so you can get notified and be in the know of tips and strategies that can help you in your taxes and in your finances. Have an amazing day. Until next time, do your homework, check out those loans, and make sure you act by October 31st, 2022.